Super Soul Sisters, yet an amazing episode. Once again, we keep bringing amazing women. And today with me is a lawyer and what many would call a corporate executive. Of course, she's the executive director of Kcca. And I must say, to have women in these positions and to know that women can actually take charge into certain things is very impressive. And not just impressive, we make sure we bring these women here for you. And with me is the executive director, Kcca Dorothy Kisaka. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Rowena. I've been looking forward to coming.
Me too. And I had to ask, earlier on, I have this tendency of asking people's pronunciation for names, but
yes.
I'm glad I got it. So I know you're very busy,
yes.
really, but thank you for making time and being our Super Soul sister tonight, and being here with us at Dotash Exclusive.
Thank you.
And, I think the person watching is saying, okay, I'm talking too much. They want to know about you.
Yeah.
When we talk about Dorothy Kisaka, who are we talking about really?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. Super Soul Sister. It's an interesting name. So I'm the Super Soul Sister,
yes,
or you are the Super Soul Sister?
You are the Super Soul Sister. My job is to make sure people see you.
Okay. Who is Dorothy Kisaka? Dorothy Kisaka is a daughter of Dr. Bulamu and Mrs. Bulamu. My parents are now both gone.
Oh dear.
And I was born in Busoga. We lived in Jinja City, outside the city.
So where exactly were you born? You did mention Jinja, but
yes.
like where?
I was born actually in the place of my grandfather's heritage is called Chiyunga. Have you heard of Luwuka district?
Yes, Luwuka.
Yes, yeah, that is like home,
Okay.
That's where we were born, but then we migrated to Jinja City.
So when you were born there, you stayed there a while, I'm assuming?
Not really. They moved out quickly. And but home is home.
Yeah, definitely.
Your ancestral home is always home. But both my parents were teachers at that time, and they were teaching in different places.
So you moved to Jinja town,
yes.
City now?
Yes.
Okay.
We like to say we live in the Jinja city, but that time it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a homestead. You know, homestead where your grandfather has a house, your father has a house, your uncle has a house. It was a large homestead because my father, when we were very young, I think I was 2 years old, he went to study overseas. Oh, okay. So we stayed in this homestead that our grandfather was looking after us. And for a long time I thought, this is how families are. Just many children. Then I later realized, ours was a unique situation because our father was not around for most of our young years.
So you have siblings or?
Yes, I do. I do have siblings. My mother had 11 children. 11 children.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was the firstborn girl. We are a proper good African
family.
Home,
Yes, that is true. Yeah. So 11, and of course a couple of others.
Yes.
That must have been interesting.
Yes.
That must have been fun.
Yes, quite interesting. When I see the way we are doing families now, 1 child, 2 children, I would love to have more children myself because it's fun.
It is.
I can't imagine any of my siblings not being there. I have my older brother, Jeff. He's 5 years older than me. I can't imagine not having him in my life.
Yes.
And yet I have my youngest brother, who came like many years later like an afterthought. I can't imagine not having him. Our mother was such a person that collected us, loving each other, working with one another, making sure we're not in conflict.
Oh, yes.
Was like the regime of the home. So we really were loving family.
And considering you are a huge number,
yes,
some of these things were bound to happen.
Oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely.
So do you have any of those that were really close to you in terms of age, and you went along with them, in terms of your daily life really at home?
Oh, okay. So let me tell you, our home, we had a lot of fene in the backyard. Yeah. Okay, I think I tell you more. My grandfather was the type that was so regular. He was a chief. So our home, when you enter, there was a signpost on the tree with his name, my grandfather's name.
Yes.
And you come down the, what do you call it, the drive. and behind all our houses were fene.
Nice.
One of the things that I remember distinctly about our family is that there was no allotted time for fene eating.
Yeah,
You could wake up and just go
and
and
just
eat
go and
fene.
pick and
We had these makeshift chairs which you make out of wood.
yes.
Fene parties happen
Happen
even
all the time.
visitors, because we used to have a lot of visitors.
Yeah.
They knew when you go to this home, you
You
get
find
fene.
fene,
Even
yes.
take it, because we had so much. And we're not selling it. You know, fene has just become popular these days.
Yes, that is true. That is true. And people are realizing
So
can
I
go
remember our
commercial.
fene parties. It's like one of the big things.
Yeah.
Then we used to have these bonfires. My grandfather loved that a lot, where we would all sit and dance after eating.
That was nice.
Dance around and competitions of dancing, and then my
Wow.
grandfather would give us money for
Nice.
those who dance. I loved. We had a great childhood.
Those are good memories.
Yeah.
Those are good memories. So what schools did you go to? Let's start with primary school.
Oh, I started out schooling with my Senga in a place called Buwera.
Okay.
It's in Kamuli Road. But I stayed there for a very short time. Then I started the boarding school. I went to Kamuli Girls. I went to Kamonkoli Girls in Imbale. And then I wound up in Gayaza from S1 right through up to S6. So I went to 4 schools in my life. Of course,
I think you're used to the moving now.
Yeah?
You were used to the moving now.
Yes, by the time I went to the boarding school, I was a bit scared because I was coming from a different kind of school to Gayaza. You know, Gayaza was highly built. It was the best school those days. It still is the best school.
Yeah. just to throw that in there. That's interesting. Yes, it's still a good school.
Different.
Yes, it is.
It was
yes.
different and fun.
So what did that feel like, you know, from a familiar space,
Yes.
from home, and then now going to Gayaza?
Yes.
And probably by this time now you don't have many of your siblings around you or
Yes,
family, and you have to figure things out on your own.
I was beginning to feel my own. I was excited about going to Gayaza. Like, I knew it was going to be a great opportunity. I already had a cousin
Oh,
who was
nice.
there and she would come home and tell us all about the school. And there was a culture at Gayaza which was very, very welcoming. By the way, it still is. They welcome you right from the moment you arrive. They make your bed, your classmates come and make your bed.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and they introduce you. What was so different, I had been in a boarding school.
Yeah.
And you just have beds. Everybody has their suitcase.
Yes.
But here, the room had wardrobes, had drawers, had a dressing mirror. The bathrooms were all well set. It was such a beautiful experience to think that you can be in a boarding school and be in such a well-knit place. And then for the first time, we were having Bazungu teachers. The Bazungu was too much.
It was too much,
But
yes.
I caught up with time.
You know, Gayaza has always been known, I must agree, for training ladies.
Yes.
And you are one, clearly. I can see that.
Thank
yes.
you, thank
So,
you. We call it diggy loss. We were taught about don't lose diggy. Walk
you walk like,
dignified, yes.
Don't run in the rain, don't do all those things.
Yes, you know those things. Did you go to Gayaza?
No, I didn't, but I knew it. I had my sister there, and oh my goodness, the stories.
Yes.
The stories. So when you go there, and this is different, what were you thinking at this time? You're a young girl, and this is definitely different for you, but it must have been quite an adventure.
It was, and you know, as a 13-year-old, you don't think too much into those things.
Yeah.
You just get some close friends, and you start doing things together. So me and my roommates, there were about 4. We just started moving like sisters. You know, you just do everything together. Then I started looking out for people who come from my home district, and got some very good girlfriends like Sarah, who came from Kamuli, and I had such an incredible time of my skills coming out, of my talents, getting involved in the music, in the sports, and you know, all that the school offers. It was fun.
Interesting. So I'm assuming you were the bubbly type, you were outgoing, because when you say you were into sports and music clubs and things like that, were you the kind that was...
Not at all.
Really?
I was the introvert.
Oh, wow.
I would be these ones where you'd find bookworms.
Yeah, but if you knew her, you'd be like, She actually can get go.
But I wanted to be included, but I was an introvert, very much an introvert at that time. But the school's culture doesn't allow you to stay alone. They pull you along. They chose me to be prefect.
Nice.
Right from when I was 15, and again when I was in the high school. I had opportunity to be monitress, you know, all those things, the leadership things.
Yes.
So really they got me out of my cocoon, and before I knew what I was,
You're
maybe the bubbly was always there, but I was just a little shy, more shy those days than
I
before.
understand. Yes. So you were in Kcca for both O and A level?
For 6 years.
Wow.
Yes.
You must have really enjoyed it.
I did. I did. I had no second choice. It was Kcca. First choice, last choice.
What were you inclined to, you know, in terms of, you know, your subjects or things that you felt you related to more in terms of studies?
Literature has always been my best. I love to read. I love to analyze the books. I love words.
Yeah.
I just, so literature was a big thing.
Was any of your parents a literature?
Let me see. No, it was my brother, my elder brother.
Okay.
My elder brother actually drew me into the love. Jeff drew me into the love of words. You know, this brother of yours who is at the university and speaks to you with words you can't understand.
And you're like, yes, I'm inspired.
And then you have to
sound like him.
Yes. So I loved that very much. I always say I loved physics when we had a very good teacher until the teacher left. So I was a bit of everything. But literature, history, I ended up doing that, and economics.
At A level?
Yeah, at A level. I loved numbers. I thought I was very good until the results came back.
Happens to most of us. Well, at least you even thought you loved the numbers. The people who are entirely want nothing to do with the numbers. But I see where the leadership is coming from, you know, starting out. But so while at Kcca, did you willingly, you know, choose to lead, or did someone identify you and say maybe you should be a part?
No, I wasn't willing. There was no, you wouldn't offer yourself for leadership. You would be identified by the girls themselves. Oh. Yeah, because they would nominate, and then the person with the highest vote.
That means much more, actually.
Yeah, so they nominated me for house leader, and then when I was older, they nominated me for prefect. And I wasn't a willing leader, I must say that. I remember this particular incident when they announced who had been nominated for higher prefects. And they tell you to stand up. Now, I was growing so tall at that time. I was, and when they told us to stand, I was ashamed of my height, which was coming on too fast. So I just crouched like this. I wasn't a willing
leader.
But I am now very thankful that I had those opportunities to lead, because they've been very foundational for what else has come out.
So you see, for other people to have faith in you,
before
you even realize it yourself, it does mean a lot.
And that's really nice. You know, I love competitive politics, yes, but also it's good for people to point out who the leader amongst them, whom they see as the person who could lead them. I think our children these days are missing out on that. Although again, it helps them also to forward themselves.
Now, anything in particular you do remember and probably sit back and still laugh about, you know, as a younger girl or in school, and say, did I really do this? Or how did I even end up doing this? Because like you mentioned, you were still figuring yourself out.
Yes.
You know, anything in particular?
Oh, wow. You know, we have a forum of girls from my age group these days, and we've been really kind of recreating our stories. It feels like, you know, you talk at this age, but you feel like, again, you're 14-year-olds and you're 15-year-olds. I think one incident that stands out very much is standing under the punishment, and it was just opposite the staff room. And also along the walkway, when the girls are coming from class, they would see you. So those who had done not funny things, who were punished, we had a punishment book which would be read out on Friday. And those who are read, you'd go and stand under the punishment tree. It was the most horrifying, shameful thing to happen.
So you'd rather avoid it?
Yeah. So one time I stood under the punishment tree. I'll never forget. I felt so ashamed
I know.
being. But there's some people who were there almost every Friday.
Every Friday you knew so and so is going to be on
But
that
I was
list.
a kind of goody, I guess. So for me, it was like, wow,
Even
am I
here.
under the punishment tree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
that's quite interesting. So now when you finish Gaza A level, you were advised on what to take on, or you chose you wanted to do law? Is that something you immediately went into, or it took you some time?
Okay. I always wanted to pursue teaching.
Okay.
Teaching was my favorite profession. Why? Because
Yeah.
my parents were teachers. Yes, and my mother always said teaching is the best profession.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be careful what you tell your children, because I just took it now.
That is,
I'm
yeah.
going to be a teacher.
Yes.
But let me tell you one story, what happened. So, we get to choosing what you do, what the profession you are aiming for.
Yeah.
And there's my friend Petty. Petty says we need to pray about it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And she said, we fast, not just pray,
Not
but
just
fast.
pregnant, you need to fast. Oh, wow.
So at the end of the fasting day, we went to chapel to hear the Lord. And she said, we cast lots.
Okay.
So we cast lots. we wrote courses on pieces of paper,
Yeah.
and we threw.
Okay.
And she picked up, and hers said law. And I picked up, and mine said BOOKWORM.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So the Lord had spoken.
Interesting way of choosing.
But when I told the headmistress, she said, forget it. You're not doing BOOKWORM, you're doing law. It was a tug of war, because I had been convinced the Lord has spoken. How can I go against the Lord?
How can I go against the Lord?
But she called in my parents, and they steered me back
into doing law.
Yes,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that is there for children today anymore, but most cases, I think people just follow their gut feeling these days anyway.
Career guidance is really needed, because your family, especially your parents, people who have been around you, can see your gifting and how you are leaning. You know what is the best to come out of you.
That is very true. Now, of course, just a quick reminder, I think for people that are watching us out there, we're here at Daughters Exclusive. They've given us this amazing space. I'm honored as well to be with the ED of Kcca, and I must say she's quite interesting. Just this energy around her. I wish you guys were here. I wish you could pick it, yeah? What I must say, I think when we come back from the break, we're going to continue from there, where people need to hear more in how, I know some people wake up and say, I want to be this, but that was quite an interesting one, you know, to wait and listen to the Lord, which is also a very good thing.
Yes.
But everyone has people, more than 3 people to come in and help you. So when we come back, we're going to continue that conversation. Don't go away. Our super soul sister, who is the ED Kcca Dorothy Kisaka, and of course, not to where we left off, you now know. At some point, by now, you know she is a lawyer. But before that decision came to pass, there was a lot of thinking involved. There was need for divine intervention, and of course, when you go to the people, your guardians, or people that are looking out for you and your parents, so many times it's tricky. It's tricky, and I think people don't talk about this often, and like we said, we don't know if career guidance still exists in schools, but that is something really that would be of help. And maybe if teachers, you know, help parents guide, you know, like we mentioned, there are parents who want you to live their dream, and it sometimes, it could work out, it could not work out, it depends on how that goes. But so, you decided to do law not just because you were, you know, sort of pushed into that direction, but maybe thought, I can do this also.
No, I ultimately warmed up to it, but initially it was a little push, because I was like, I don't want to be in courts. I don't want to be one of those people arguing for
the wrong
criminals.
side.
I wanted a quiet back door, you know, maybe, you know, work in the bank and behind
be at the back there.
But it's amazing how I took to law once I started it. I just loved it. Because
so where did you go for that?
In Makerere.
Okay.
There's an element of reading. reading cases, decided cases.
You got excited about them.
There's so much. You read about medicine and architecture, and it has everything.
Yep.
You get to know so many stories, and because of my love of literature, I just ended up loving the reading.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution, arguing these boys in my law class. I loved it. I really loved my 3 years of law finally.
So do you think that maybe your personality was influenced by the people who were around you?
Absolutely.
To take on this challenge?
Absolutely. And I think my placement in the family also, being there.
You were in between
the boys. Being in between. And you know, these boisterous people around you. My grandfather was a big character. My dad. My mom was a bit mellow like me. Mellow like me.
Yeah.
Okay. So it influences you. It influences you to a great extent. But as you step into the spaces, especially when you get older, you start getting into your own space, and your true personality comes out. I think mine did really blossom at the university as I interacted. I was a leader also there, in several places. And thrived.
So the leadership, I won't call it a talent, Some people are skilled, but it doesn't come as easy or naturally.
It's like a gifting.
It's like, yes, definitely. Yeah. So that came through also while in law school.
Yeah. I think it's mainly, there are two sides to leadership. There is the relationships, and then there is the tasks. There is the ability to do tasks extremely well, but there's also ability to relate and build relationships, build teams. And I think in the earlier stages, people see how you relate with others, and that's what they call out. Making meetings happen, including everybody, taking the lead role in ensuring tasks are done. So people, I think, recognize that and gave me the opportunity.
Yes. So what did you specify? Did you want to do something particular?
No, my real dream was always to be in banking. Yes. Yeah. Maybe I loved money too much.
Well, that's okay. Money is good.
No, but it sounded executive and corporate. I know. Yes. And I had an uncle who was a lawyer and he was doing that kind of thing. Yeah. So I was looking. I think that's where role modeling is very important. Yeah. Children see people ahead of them and they start to admire and they say, oh, that is the line I'll pursue. Yeah. But once I got into the business of working, I realized there are so many options to pursue in law. And with time, I focused personally on family law, family estates, administration.
And how long were you in your practice for?
It's a long time. It's a long time because I joined a law firm in 1988. Wow. Yes.
That's quite a while.
And I stayed in for a long time, almost 20 years. Still, I did a wide spectrum, although one was where I focused.
You really focused.
We did land agreements, we did affidavits going to court about this and the other. Yeah, law is
What was the easier one for you?
Where I was at home was in administration of estates, making sure the families are working together, getting things organized in the family when somebody has died, making sure wills are well written, property is well distributed. I just seem to be at home with organizing. And but there's the people aspect in it. You meet the whole family, you go to their judge's home, and then I entered into the whole area of legal guardianship, adoption of children, the pain around that and the grief of being orphaned. I feel at home in those areas.
It made you see things and realize
Yeah. And I love to relate with people. When I initially worked for a law firm, but when I was 29, my boss died in a tragic accident, and I ended up opening my own law firm soon after his death. And because I was so young, and that's long ago, we are talking 92, and people would come into my law firm and say, "You are the lawyer," I'm not
too young.
My work. But I stayed because I had taken over quite a lot of work from him after he died, and it gave me resilience. It gave me, I really thrived. I enjoyed that time very much.
That must have been tough, but you kept going.
It was very tough. And it was a time where there were not many women in law firms. My father gave me a lot of encouragement because that was my first place to work. And now my boss had died, and
you're starting something of your own.
But I also wanted to honor his legacy. There was that part of me, and he had taught me a lot. He had taken me on like a mentor. He had really mentored me. He'd take me to all his law courts, or his bank meetings, or wherever custodian board meetings. He taught me a lot of things, and so there was already a great deposit in my life that I could play. People thought I was young, but I had a lot of resource that had been deposited in me. Yeah.
Interesting. How did you deal with that kind of, I don't want to use the word rejection, but in a sense of form?
You know the
one,
truth.
You're a woman, second, you're young.
Yes.
All those things sort of play a role in people trusting.
It's true.
That you can actually...
You are very, very right, Rowena, about a woman. Yeah. You know, the things have changed so much in Uganda. Women are really respected in Uganda. But there was a time where, will this woman do my work?
Harder.
Yes. Can she do it? And how did I deal with it? I felt they are rejecting me because of their own prejudice. But I knew I was good at what I do. I knew I deliver results. And my clients who stayed are very proud of the work that I did for them. So I did not despise myself. I knew, even now, I know when a person despises me.
Yeah, you can tell.
But I said that's their problem.
I'll take you back quickly. So at what point did you have your children, within your career? Because for most young women out there, it's a dilemma. Can I have the children now? Because then a lot of time will be gone. And when I'm back, will I, adjust back to the setting? Or maybe the boss will say, see, she's pregnant again. So at what point within your career now? Or maybe the fact that you had your own business, it was of help?
I had my first child actually when I was still working for somebody.
Okay.
And had my second child when I was running my own business. This is a big story in itself.
Yes.
When my children were 2 and 3, we decided with my husband that we needed to give them more attention. So I actually closed the law firm.
Oh, wow.
And went and worked from home.
Wow, that's...
Yes, I did.
How long, after the law firm existing?
After 5 years, I guess.
Well, you pushed. You'd really given it a run.
I won't be giving the exact numbers. But it didn't like close.
Close, yeah.
There's something about legal work. Once people connect with you,
they keep
disconnect. And there is work that you can still do based at home. But I carried on with a little. It wasn't too much, but a little of the work. So I did not lose complete contact with my clients. But yes, I went and stayed home for 5 years and took care of the children. Yeah. And then I bounced back.
Wow. How easy was that?
There was God's grace. God's grace enabled us to restart. And it's like we had never stopped.
That's good.
It was really...
And I think also your social skills, in terms of how you engage with people, your clients, I think it's very important. So basically, have a plan. Yes. That's what I'm thinking.
Have a plan. I think there is a social capital. Human capital is underestimated. We believe in having money and things. But Rowena, building this relationship with you is one of the most important capital you can have. Dealing with a wide spectrum of people and treating them well and not because of what you're going to get from them. So I stepped back. I called up my clients. We didn't even have mobile phones those days. You had to pick a phone and call. And they started coming back. They started, and it's like I'd never left.
And ever since. It's a journey you've never stopped.
Yeah. We need, I've learned through my experience of life that I need to invest intentionally in building relationships.
What's your favorite books, since you're a reader?
Oh my God.
You love to read?
You won't believe it. It's a book that I did when I was in high school, and it's called To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
by Happily.
Yes.
I think it's because the way the teacher taught us. It's a story about prejudice of in the American society,
Yes,
blacks and whites, and what happened, the life of one family, how they lived through that. And actually the father was a lawyer, so I was really connected to that content.
Yeah.
Because I love so many books. I could tell you about so many other books, but I think there's an emotional connection
to this particular
book. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. That's a very good book, actually. That's a very
You've
good
read
book.
it, Rene?
My sister used to read it for me all the time. I did different books,
Yes.
but she kept coming, oh my God, this particular one you like.
Yes.
You're into social classes and things like that.
Justice.
And I'm like, okay, please, can you read it for me? Because I'm trying to focus on my own books.
Yes.
So every evening,
Wow.
give me a bit of,
book.
yes.
Absolutely
And
beautiful.
now that you mentioned, I'm actually going to read that
Yes,
book.
please do.
I'm going to go and read it myself. Thank you, Julie, but I'll go read myself now. So now, let's fast forward, because I know anytime my producer is about to tell me, hey, let's move forward. So what pushes you every day as Dorothy to go for what you dream of, for what you achieve, or what you want to achieve, rather? Sometimes we use the word dreams and people are like, yeah, those are just dreams. But what pushes you? What do you live by? Your mantra, basically.
Okay. Rowena, I have a firm belief in that we are, as a person of faith, I have a purpose. And my purpose is enshrined in two mandates. One is called the creation mandate, which is comes from the book of Genesis. Go, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it. Literally, it's saying work.
Yeah.
Be busy working in humanity, in creation, in the environment.
Yes.
I believe in work. I love to work.
Yeah.
And the other is the gospel, the Great Commission, to spread the fragrance, to spread the knowledge of Christ. Those two things are like my cup of tea every day. It energizes me to know that I am not a random thing. My life is a gift, and every day it's unpacked. I am the grateful recipient. I made in my Father's image, and I live for His glory. My life is measured in numbers, and every day I say, teach me to number my days, that I may apply my heart to wisdom.
Indeed. And that will bring us to the current situation.
Yes.
How do you end up? How do you then end up being the executive director of Kcca?
Yes.
I know, considering all things in
it
this
is
particular
amazing.
position,
Yeah.
and all the controversies and things like that, how do you end up here? At this point, when this happens, where were you at in life?
Oh, okay. By the time I was appointed executive director, I was working actually at the office of the Prime Minister. I was advisor governance to the Prime Minister. And I was pleasantly surprised to be appointed to this position of leadership. I had been teaching leadership for a long while in universities here in Africa and internationally. And I had a lot of theory.
Yeah. I can see that, but it played out.
It played out. Now I was given an opportunity to bring all the theory, and it's been an amazing experience. What you teach on the pulpit may not be exactly what plays out in real life, because you're dealing with
challenges come by.
So how did I end up being executive director? It is an opportunity that was just given to me, and I am grateful.
Yes. It's not something you ever thought of or ever wanted to do.
No. Not in my wildest dreams. No.
I can imagine.
I did.
Now, you've done a number of things. You've gone for law and still went back to your passion of wanting to teach.
Yes. Yeah.
And going ahead and constantly getting opportunities for leadership.
Yeah.
Now, how easy was this? I know from past experience of having your own business, but now you have to be answerable to people. You have to work for someone. Make sure that work is done right.
Yeah.
What was that like, transitioning to these two things?
I've been largely driven by passion. Doing the things I love and conviction.
Yeah.
The various posts that I've been invited to serve in, there's been a conviction and a passion that this is where I need to be in my creation mandate at this time. And so I don't, you know these adverts which say there is such a job, we want somebody who doesn't need supervision. I'm one of those. I don't need supervision. I don't need to be supervised because I deliver. And when I hear people say, you're not working enough, I'm amazed because you know, when you're driven by conviction and passion, you don't need much supervision. You just deliver. Of course, this role is different. It is exciting. It has expected outputs. I'm not my own boss, and there is a wide spectrum, you know, of so many people that you are providing leadership over. So it's a new challenge.
It's a new challenge,
and I'm growing my muscles to meet those challenges.
So when you first heard of this or got this opportunity, what were you like? Not sure about it, or were you quick to say, hey, I can take on this chance and opportunity? Because there's people who will say, no, I refuse to take this one because I felt maybe it wasn't for me or wasn't right. Or what went through your mind to help you make this choice? Or rather, not make the choice, but accept the choice.
I remember it was a Friday evening, and the message started circulating on the forums. And somebody called me, and I said, "Oh, please, no, it's not possible." And finally, it got to me. My husband and I were doing exercise. So I ran out, and then I ran back, and I refused to tell him, and
you just kept going.
I just continued kind of to just soak it in, and then I told them. I was shocked, but I didn't have a feeling of no. I just said, you know what?
It's a challenge.
If this has been given to me, then the Lord will give me the strength. It was overwhelming initially because it's a large opportunity. It's a large opportunity. But I quickly gathered myself and we conferred as a family, and we took it on.
It's quite interesting. So then, of course, considering the all the things that have been surrounding this particular position, weren't you a bit worried that maybe if you...
that was a concern. The conflicts, there was a lot of conflicting that we all read about. And you know, when you read it from outside, sometimes it's even bigger.
It's even bigger, than when you get in to see for yourself.
So I had a lot of advice to say, don't take on the job. Well-meant advice, and I really respect that.
But you like a challenge.
It's not so much about liking the challenge, but I feel my life is God-led. I mean, he took me there because he can see me through that.
That's true.
I didn't want to just listen to fear. I didn't want to be guided by fear. I wanted to be guided by faith.
That's true.
And so that was one. I remember I made 7 commitments when I had just come to the position. And one of them was to build bridges and minimize conflicts and build win-win situations in our work. So it has been very intentional about leading from the front and making sure we are constantly building bridges and finding opportunities to minimize conflict. Conflict has to be there. Conflict is part of our experience in life. But we can minimize it so that we get win-wins, all of us, and continue in life.
Indeed. I must say congratulations on that too.
Thank you.
And we do wish you the best of luck, in making sure you continue to execute your duties and your roles. But I must say, so real quick, we did mention, we now know you love reading. Yes. Now I know you do work out, which explains a lot of things. You look
especially these days.
No, you look really amazing. If I could point that out, you really look amazing. So, current situation, because we're back from COVID. Well, we're assuming so. We've come from a tough time. We did see this coming. We tried to prepare ourselves the best way possible, but here we are, and we're having so many people now trying to go back, to survive and get on the streets and what. And we've been having these challenges, as you know. who goes where, you know, especially if we're looking at Kampala here, which is in your docket. What's your take on that concern in regards to how we've been affected anyway economically and trying to get back on our feet?
Yeah, COVID has hit us badly, and as city administrators, we need to be awake to the fact that people are struggling economically, and as if that's not enough, then we have the prices going up because of fuel. So we started this decongestion exercise in the city way back in November 21, because of COVID, people had come up to the streets and the walkways, and they were working everywhere. So the goal was let people go back to the markets. Let people go back to the markets, because it's a truth, the market spaces were empty. So we had more people than those who could fit in the markets. The good thing is that government has responded by saying let's acquire spaces where we can fit these people. There are two sensitivities here, keeping the city decongested and also being sensitive to the needs of the people. If somebody sells in front of a shop, it means the person, the owner of the shop, who pays taxes is also being inconvenienced. So we are playing with both. We are trying to play with both. Right now we're in a conversation with the Federation of Hawkers to see how we can acquire spaces and resettle them, and we are succeeding in acquisition of spaces because government has come in to support us.
It is quite a competitive space, I must say, yes? Because everyone is trying to get something out there. Something out there, and it's quite tricky.
The city is about commerce. You step on something, you step on the earning opportunity for somebody.
So just last week, we had a one Shanita, Namimba, I think, Bad Black.
Okay, that's
and she said, I stormed into the speaker's office and I said, I want to help young girls. And of course, our mothers, you know, there's so many mothers out there. She said, my mother was selling tomatoes. My friend was selling charcoal, you know, and she's gotten into this kind of getting the young girls off of the streets. Probably not an easy thing. Some of them turned mothers over time, and that's the only way they know on how to survive. I'm not saying it's you know, but she's a young woman saying, you know what, it's about time. You know, and having such conversations. Do you often have such conversations, and how often? Because so many times people shun away from such discussions. You know,
the city especially has a large spectrum, a wide spectrum of people. They're all stakeholders. And it is so easy to stay in your own cocoon and care about your own kind. You know, the professionals, the clean people. But this city has the street people, it has the street kids, it has the ghetto youth, it has market people, it has the taxi park people. And as a city administrator, you have to be awake to all these needs and to consistently look for solutions for all. So another person may just say, just bajeo.
Yes.
And yes, we are working towards that, but you don't just do it in a senseless way. We have to look for solutions for all stakeholders. How do we manage this? Luckily, we have many people, you've just quoted an example, who are coming up with projects and let's do this, let's do this. We all have to pull together. You know, a city is ultimately a family. We are really a family. Now we've started this parish development model, 99 parishes, 99 opportunities for service delivery, and in those communities we can care for each other. We have to be intentional and not leave any of our people behind. Care for all of them. So we as city administrators must be awake to that need and address it.
Now, still in connection to that, because she's looking at getting young girls off the street. Of course, some of them have got into prostitution and things like that. Now, during COVID time, we've seen this even get worse. And some of our young girls have left school. Some of them have got pregnant. Probably lack of information, rape, you know, defilement, some of these things. Now, getting them back to school and helping them, as Kcca, are you coming in and trying to help, you know, the different engaged, you know, ministries or people who are actually involved to help. Because at the end of the day, if these girls don't get the opportunity back, or maybe some kind of skilling trainings or anything, then we're going to have this problem keep lingering really hugely at
Can be a perpetual problem in society. That's a great question. In Kcca, we have 2 directorates who directly handle that. One is the Directorate of Education and Social Services, and we oversee 79 schools in the city, which are all UPE schools, where we encourage every child to get an opportunity, and government is supporting us on that. But on the other hand, we have the Gender Directorate that directly takes care of youth, women, the disabled, all these special needs groups. This is a new challenge, early pregnancy, children who are in school, and we've been guided by Minister of Education on how to take care of it. We as Kcca are working with the communities. We have several projects under USO that help us to take care of such girls. They stay in their communities, but they're taken care of in their communities. It's a new challenge, but we are addressing it. We've not closed our eyes to it.
I think so many times people will ask, we have, I had one of my supervisors ask, when you have women leaders, women in places of position, what is it doing for us? And I like that you point out these things, because so many times people are thinking, yeah, it's just we're just taking initiative, but we're not looking at how in turn does it play back for us. And we keep talking about how we forget the boys too. In this situation, are the boys ready for an empowered woman? And such questions you know, come up. That's why we keep having debates of, oh, the girls have to go back to school, but the boys this, things like that. So, but real quick, the young boys and girls, or young women and young men. That's why I brought that up, so that I don't leave anyone out. What would you say to them in terms of bettering themselves, achieving their goals, and probably getting something out of life? Because we're not young forever. And also we are not here forever. So to leave behind a legacy of another younger person or things like that.
I would say to every young person out there that life is a stewardship. You are not here forever. Use the opportunities before you to serve. Service is the best way your giftings come out, and the giftings open the doors for you. All the opportunities I have had in life have been because of serving. When you serve at one station, it opens up a different station. Second thing I would say, celebrate your, what is it called? Your gender. Celebrate the fact that you are a woman. It is a joy to be a woman. It's not a punishment. Women by nature, we are nurturers. There is something that the woman brings to a place, any place. And so we celebrate that in women, and mothers should encourage their daughters to just enjoy their femininity. In the same way, we should celebrate our boys as men. Because again, you don't want a man who is docile. That whole thing of manhood, of strength, of protecting others is what beautifies society. The beauty of a woman, the strength of a man together is what beautifies our societies. So the narrative that undermines the boys, because we are bringing up the girls, is not a healthy narrative.
It's not.
I think we need to align that narrative, to bring back our boys at par, and also
to understand
our
the
girls.
woman we're creating.
And to celebrate her. To celebrate her. We are now at the table, we are in the boardrooms, we are doing everything together, but doesn't take away my womanhood. I'm still a woman. And that nature of serving and nurturing is still very valid and has to play out.
Now there's something very cliche, and I'm going to point it out, where people will often ask you, how do you balance? You know, work and family. Like, has anyone ever asked a man, how do you balance work and family?
That is correct. That is correct.
But how do you deal with such queer questions. I call it a
Yes.
queer question
Yes.
because what do you mean by that?
You know, my answer usually is life is an indivisible whole. Life is wholesome. I have children there. I have work there. I have money issues. I have faith issues.
Yeah.
It is all one whole, and I should look at it as one piece of life. I shouldn't excel at one part while demeaning the other. And for me as a mother, nurturing my children is part of the mandate that I have as a woman.
Yeah.
Now, does it mean I should balance? Maybe not. Maybe there is a season to pull out of some things and focus on this. I just know that you shouldn't abandon any part of your life because you're pursuing this part of your life only. I remember when I was at home looking after my children, I said, I'll read at home.
Yes.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
In fact, I tell my children that when I was at home with you, I must have got at least 3 degrees because I read so much.
So much, yes. Engage yourself.
That wholeness, that mindset, that perspective of life is whole. In this season, Rowena, you are whole. You are whole. You're not putting other things on hold.
On hold, yes. That is very true. Our super soul sister, Dorothy Kisaka, who is the ED, Kcca, and I must say, quite often, we ignore some of this. We say, I will be ambitious, I'll put this on hold, I will not do that, I will not try this. Thank you for making time for us. And I, for one, have picked a lot of things. It's good to be a career woman, okay?
Yes.
But then you can still have your family
Yes.
that you create, and also the family that you already have.
Yes.
Some of these things should not be ignored. And at the same time, support.
Yes.
Support yourself, support your family, and take chances, you know?
Yes.
I like that you took on every opportunity there was. Yes. And when you need to have the break, have the break.
Absolutely.
You can always come back and bounce back. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
My name is Rowena Kajumba. Just a quick reminder, we are here at Daughters Exclusive, and they do give us this amazing space to come and give you this show every other week to make sure we have our super soul sisters here. Now, from me and the entire team, we wish you a good night. Thank you.